My name is Janine, also known as Graeae Horror, and I'm delighted to introduce my latest interviewee as part of my remote FrightFest coverage for 2026. It's the wonderful James Owen, who is the writer, director and producer of Hoarder, which has its world premiere at FrightFest on the 29th of August. Hi James, how are you?
Hi, thank you very much. Thank you for welcoming me. That's very kind. It's a pleasure to be here. I really appreciate you taking the time to chat with me today.
No, thank you.
And it's nice to actually spend, half an hour just relaxing. I've been so busy, and it's like, okay, now James, sit down, have a chat with somebody, and have a nice chat.
Exactly. No, I'm absolutely here for that. Thank you so much also for taking the time to meet with me, and also for giving me the privilege of seeing Hoarder ahead of its world premiere. For those who are looking to attend FrightFest, can you give us a bit of a spoiler-free introduction to the film?
Okay, I'll do my best. So it's obviously a horror film, and it's about a medical student and a community nurse who are out and about in the community doing home visits to give flu vaccinations to people who otherwise couldn't make it to their surgery. And they turn up at the house of Fred and Doris Hunt, and nothing's what it seems. And they realize they've got themselves into a whole heap of trouble the moment they walk through the door. But actually, what's fun about this film is that that idea that they come in to try and help people, and they see this vulnerable couple, and they want to sort of work out what's going on and try and find out how they can support them. But so it takes them a while to realize that things are going badly and things are going downhill in a way that they don't have the control over that they think. No. And that's one of the fun things about it.
No, definitely. It really subverted my expectation from where it starts to the second act right to the end. And for anyone who knows me, I like to do my films as blind as possible. I like to know as little as possible and to enjoy the art as the filmmaker intended. And this certainly throws you through the ringer. I really enjoyed it. Can you tell us what it means to have its premiere at FrightFest?
Well, it's very exciting. It's slightly nerve-wracking at the same time because obviously we've had this film under wraps for the last 18 months. And this is the first audience that will see the film on the big screen and ultimately give us feedback there and then as we're watching it. And obviously feedback afterwards as well over the coming months. Oh, that's my dog, sorry.
That's okay, don't worry. They want to be interviewed as well.
My dog's just seen a squirrel, I think, and has decided to bark.
Oh, hello.
That was a little bit impromptu. I'm sorry about that.
That's okay.
It was either that or she was going to be barking through the whole chat.
Who is that? What's her name?
This is Amber.
Amber.
And,
Hi, Amber.
She likes to chase squirrels, and we've got lots of squirrels that come by. And so she tends to get very excited. She's looking out the window just on squirrel watch.
Yeah, I have a cat who likes to make a mad dash across any room he's in when he sees a bird and hits the window face first. So I feel your pain. I feel that.
Well, hopefully she'll just, if I keep all of this, she'll just behave and we can ignore
it. Okay. Well, let's see how that challenge unravels, shall we? And what is it? Oh, sorry. What it meant to have the world premiere at FrightFest.
Oh, yes, of course. I mean, FrightFest is an amazing festival. It's been around a long time now. The guys who run it are lovely, lovely people. And I think it's a very prestigious sort of genre festival, one of the best known in the world, really. And certainly from the UK point of view, it's without a doubt, number one. And we were lucky enough to be at FrightFest in 2022. With our previous film Bite, and they've welcomed us back this year with the new film. So we're chuffed to bits, really.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and that's been the overwhelming vibe I'm getting from everyone I'm speaking to is just the fact that it's top of their list for the UK festivals,
absolutely.
Which is great. And what is it that you're hoping for audiences to take away from the screening?
I mean, it's about entertainment, right? So fundamentally, I want people to leave the cinema having been entertained. It's just it's 86 minutes long. Mm-hmm. So it's a good length for having some fun, leaving the cinema with a smile on your face, having felt that you've been entertained, and hopefully satisfied with the story and the conclusion to the story and the characters in the story. When I create stories, there does tend to be quite an element of comedy comes into them, but we've deliberately with this film tried not to do that. This is a much more serious project. There's maybe the odd little bit of black humor comes in, and we've allowed one of our characters to have a slightly humorous side to him, which you may or may not have experienced when you watch the film. I hope it's quite subtle. The original script wasn't, but we definitely changed it a lot before we filmed. So it's about having fun, really, and maybe a few scares, maybe a few jump scares, perhaps.
Yeah.
There's one or two, I think, that get people.
Yeah, I definitely, especially towards the end, there was one in particular that got me. So that's quite interesting.
I think on another level though, this is a film which it does have a subliminal sort of social message, I suppose. It's certainly not in your face, and I don't intend it to be, but it does highlight certain elements of society and potential challenges that they face. But obviously it's not that sort of a film, but I think one or two people have sort of picked up on that, which I'm quite pleased to hear, because it's certainly in the back of my mind. It's always good to try and send a positive message, or send a message out there for people to sort of think on another level about something important in life as well.
Yeah, I definitely got. No, absolutely. I definitely got the message you were going for through this, particularly when we first meet the Hunts as well. So the film itself, I found, really challenges the audience in terms of discomfort. So we've got a setting of a hoarder's home, the uncleanliness, and then claustrophobia and paranoia. How important was it for you to have these nuanced methods of building tension versus the traditional genre of jump scares? I know you've got a couple scattered in there, but how important was it for you to layer those foundations of discomfort early?
Really important. At the end of the day, one of my main philosophies in storytelling is to ask myself, what hasn't been seen before, or what has been seen before, but we can do it in a different way that subverts that trope, maybe. And so that's always the sort of challenge and the thought that goes through my mind, and that's really why this story resonated with me, and why it's come to fruition in the way it has, is because it makes you, it gives you a slow burning level of anxiety which builds up, and that's how the main character begins to feel as the story progresses, as they realize that things are not really quite going to plan, and there's a lot more going on here than meets the eye, in a way that's far more than what they'd expect from an elderly couple who live on their own and are not really connected to society anymore.
Yeah, I really, it harks back for me when it's a very different style of film, but it reminds me of The Visit, if you've seen that, in that you expect one thing from these elder characters and you get something completely different.
Yeah,
and I really enjoyed that.
Great. Thank you very much. Yeah. And of course the cast really brought this to life. I think the key to one of the important elements to a good film is a right casting. So getting the right people to play the characters and bringing the characters to life, not just in the way you want them, but in a way that's even better than you thought they were going to be. So it's a collaborative approach, and they bring additional layers to the character which I hadn't thought of, which I've embraced and loved straight away. So so I think that really sort of gives it more depth as well.
Absolutely. In fact, you preempted my next question. I'm loving the mug. I got distracted. That's great.
Sorry. Yeah. Do you think there's enough blood on it for a horror?
Not quite. Not enough for FrightFest, unfortunately. But there's always next time. So you've preempted my next question there, because I really loved all of the performances, in particular Daisy and Paul. Can you tell us about your approach to casting for this feature?
as I said before, casting is really crucial. I think if you cast the wrong person in a role, then as a director, you've really got your work cut out to try and develop the character the way you expect them to be. And if it's wrong, it's very hard to sort of put that right. And it's not necessarily that the actor's the wrong actor in terms of they can still do the job, but it's they've not quite get what we're trying to achieve. And that's just not the case here. Everybody fell exactly into the right role. They knew exactly what they were doing. They brought extra levels of commitment and extra levels and nuances to the characters, which made them far better than they would have been otherwise, you know. So the casting process is hugely important. And I was very lucky to have an amazing casting director, Ollie Gilbert, and that basically meant I was able to reach out to a really high level of talent across the industry. And we were really lucky. They loved the script, and they pretty much everyone we asked came on board, which was brilliant.
I mean, that's a director's dream, right? Is to get your casting that you really want. That's ideal. And our audience, you alluded to it earlier, our audience will probably remember you from your directorial debut of Bite at FrightFest in 2022. Are there any similarities between the two features? Is there any expectation that we can set the groundwork for between the two?
I enjoy world building in a way that we create an environment that you don't see in reality. Mm-hmm. One of my sort of philosophies is if it looks like it's the normal world around us, why am I filming it? Because I want to create something that we don't normally see in real life. Yeah. And so one of the important elements to my filmmaking process is to create a slightly quirky, unusual world. And I think that comes across in Bite, and I hope it comes across to some degree in Hoarder as well. Certainly there are some unusual situations there, right?
Yes. Yeah. And as I mentioned to you earlier, the claustrophobia, I think, was the thing that got me more than anything. There were some real moments. The more that our lead delves into the world that these two inhabit, it feels like the walls really do close in. Every space she inhabits, the walls are literally smaller and dirtier and grimier. Can you speak to us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so the location, the main location was a real house, and it was a house that hadn't been lived in for many years, and it was in a very poor condition. And it was hilariously, the first thing I did when I went in there was I had the whole thing completely bleached and cleaned. Because it was moldy, and it was a mess. And I thought, well, we're going to enclose ourselves in here for 3 weeks potentially. That's just not acceptable. So the first thing I did was bleach it, but prior to that, took photos. And then once it had all been bleached, we then repainted all the mold back onto the walls. So it was hilarious, really. So when people first came into the house to film it, they were like looking around thinking, do we need a mask on here? Is this a healthy environment? Should we open the windows? I'm like, no, trust me, it's just paint. It was fun. So that was the original location. And then as much as we could, we turned it into the house that you see in the film with a lot of junk, basically, because it was a completely empty property. And it takes a lot of junk to fill a house like that. And the dilemma was, of course, you needed to put enough junk in to really make it feel genuine, because everything that you see on camera has been placed there. But at the same time, you need to create a set which is to some degree movable, so that you can get your crew and your camera and everything else into the same space to be able to film. So that was the biggest challenge, is making it look full of junk, but at the same time giving us space to operate the camera, etc., etc. So that was one of the big challenges. And of course, not all of it's filmed at the house. There's a lot of it that takes place in a studio where we obviously had quite a lot of set builds, and you can probably work out when you watch the film which bits are sets and which bits are in the actual physical property of the house.
Yeah, no, I was going to say that must have been a hell of a challenge when you vacate. You've got a property that is vacant, to fill it with that much stuff.
Yeah,
like that must be a huge job for a team to do.
Yeah,
to find
and the team. Well, a lot of the time, the team was just me and a van, really, to be honest with you, because wow. I basically had to do back and two trips to. I mean, I production designed it as well, so and that, I know that sounds like yet another big job to add to the mix, but actually, production design for me, it's quite an organic process. So whilst I'm production designing, I'm thinking about the blocking, I'm thinking about the design of the shots, I'm thinking about the lighting, I'm thinking about the color schemes. I'm putting the film together, ready to shoot in the actual location as I build it, as opposed to sitting there with a script and previs and designing the layout of the shots on paper or on a computer software. So I'm doing it real time with my camera and as I build the sets.
Yeah, and that's definitely beneficial, because I was going to ask how you found balancing all the different roles, because that's a joy and also a challenge with independent filmmaking, is you have to wear many hats. How did you find that, going from the initial screenplay writing right the way through to the end of post-production?
Yeah. Okay, so I think when I write, obviously the first thing to do is to generate the story and create the elements of the story, the plot and the character development. And that again, that becomes very organic. One follows another, and then a character develops more because of a plot change. And so you need a certain character trait. And then when I then construct the scenes on paper, finally, I'm sort of reverse engineering an image in my head.
Yeah.
So if you are a director that takes on a script from somebody else, you've then got to go through that script, and then you've got to work out how you're going to do it. And quite often you have to change the script to make it filmable, because sometimes scenes are written in a way and you look at it and you go, well, I can't film that. I've got to change that in order to visually make that happen. Whereas for me, I visually see it and then I write it down on paper. So I think I get that writer-director combination becomes a fairly straightforward process. There's less trying to mold something to a film, to an image, because you started off with an image in your mind and then just described it, basically. I think that's one of the main things. And then obviously, as I mentioned, production designing, you're creating the images that you had in your head in the first place. And at the same time, realizing what the limitations of the set are and realizing what actually you wanted to do, you can't do. And so you've got to change as you go. And that might mean you then go home and sit at the computer and adjust the script slightly, because you've realized that the set that you've actually got, the confines of the location you've actually been given, needs adjustment. I mean, I wrote Hoarder knowing the location I was going to be using.
Oh, okay, great.
So that again, that shortened the process slightly, because I again, the visual image I had for the scene, I knew exactly the location.
Definitely. And then you also save time in pre-production with Graeae and trying to find the right location for what you have in mind. Yeah.
Well, there's no doubt about it that when you have a limited budget, I think you use what you've got rather than try and make it complicated by going and finding things that don't exist and then having a problem trying to create them later, which actually could be a problem.
So were there any lessons that you learned from the production of Bite that you took into the production of Hoarder?
Yes. I think the biggest lesson really was the time scale. when you make a film, you have either time or you have money. Generally, you don't have both, and usually you don't have money. So fingers crossed you've got time. And with Bite, obviously, we filmed Bite over a long period of time, and it took a few years to get that finished. Whereas with Hoarder, I didn't want to drag it out. I wanted to start creating a more robust, professional sort of workflow from conception to script completion to actual production and then post-production. And I think it worked really well. We just dedicated a lot more time in a more efficient way. We were given the location before I wrote the script, but the location was only available for 6 months, and after that it was going to essentially be dismantled and rebuilt. So we knew we were on a tight schedule for that. So that was the biggest, I think that was the biggest lesson, is learning to work more efficiently and create a product a lot quicker.
Yes,
but without compromising on the quality.
Yeah, which in itself is a hard challenge when you've already got limitations with budget and crew, etc. Okay, and then can you tell us a little bit more outside of Hoarder? Can you tell us a little bit about your creative journey as a filmmaker?
Yes. So I first started filmmaking over 10 years ago now. And it was one of my children that got me into it, actually. Just doing something very casual with the sort of holiday camera. And I just got the bug, and that was it. There was no turning back from that, because my original career is as a surgeon, and hence the mug.
Hence the mug. I mean, we won't ask why the career changed, but the mug says it all.
It's not a complete career change. I am still a part-time surgeon. I do a day and a half a week, probably, on average. I mean, I still really enjoy that career. It's very rewarding, and it's very different.
Yes.
But the creative side is something I have a huge passion for.
And you would have an amazing technical knowledge as well. If you ever came to do body horror or something, you would have it in hand up here. It would be wonderful.
It is funny because when we are doing something that's a little bit more gore related, for me it's got to look right, because I can't see it realistically at all if it doesn't look right. And some people in the crew are looking at something going, "Oh my god, that's just," I was like, "No, it's not right. It needs to be. It needs to be better." I'm striving for something that makes me as a surgeon think, "Ooh, is that real?"
I mean, in that case, sign me up. Like, please do something really grotesque, and then let me know, because I need to see it.
Okay. Well, Bite's got some really quite gory elements to it. It's not a gore fest as such, but it's got appropriately placed gore when you need to see it to tell the story. And there were some reviews that said as much, that it was pretty obvious that I knew what it looked like inside the body.
Well, sign me up. I need to find it, and I'll definitely check that one out. Unfortunately, I haven't seen it to date, but I definitely will. Yeah,
it's on Amazon Prime, so it's easy to access.
Fantastic. There we go. So everyone knows where to get it now. That's amazing. Thank you.
Great.
And do you can you tell us a little bit about so I take it you're a fan of genre as well. Can you tell us about your journey and your first memory perhaps of genre?
Yes, okay. I mean, I've always loved film. I've always enjoyed I think really right back to a long time ago, as a teenager, we used to get all our friends together on a Friday night and watch the latest horror films that had come out. And of course, it was the era of, on VHS, it was the era of Texas Chainsaw and The Burning and Nightmare on Elm Street films. So we grew up with all those classics like The Thing, etc., and a lot of practical, lots of practical horror effects as well, which was always a lot of fun. And it's still, practical effects are still so important, really. Now we're looking at all this AI and all this CGI and all the ways in which it's so easy to create something that doesn't really exist and you can't really interact with it. But it's on as a standalone, that doesn't work. You have to have a hybrid concept. You have to have practical effects, and that's what you see in both Bite and in Hoarder.
No, definitely, and I think that screams through that your love of practical filmmaking and effects work really is driven by your, it's effectively directed from your previous history and your love of genre early on. You can tell with those eras we didn't have the influence that we do now, and the ease and the accessibility to create something digitally.
Yeah, exactly. And because I love the production design and because of my surgical background, it sort of comes naturally to understand what needs to be done in order to create that effect. So it's a lot of fun.
I'd love to get my hands on, but I'm not that creative. I'm just here to watch and to enjoy and to talk about it, which is great. So I have a question that I like to ask everyone that I speak to. If you are to screen a double feature in your local cinema of 2 films for us to get to know you, which 2 films would you like to see screened?
Wow, that's a really good question. So basically, if we were to look at a back catalogue of films, what films have I really enjoyed that I would say has influenced me over the years? I think all the Tarantino films have certainly influenced me a lot. I have to say. You could quite easily put a Tarantino film in there. You've probably heard that one before. I also really enjoy the Guillermo del Toro films. I think the production design side, that's amazing. I know these aren't all classically horror in a lot of respects, but it's all about the so for the Tarantino, it's about the story and it's about the world building. And for the Guillermo del Toro films, it's about the production design. And so those are 2 big influences on my filmmaking and who I am as a filmmaker, even though they're not horror.
No, but I mean, I don't know. I think Pan's Labyrinth is definitely coded.
Yeah, no,
as
fair
horror.
Enough.
I think it could be.
Yeah, and yes, exactly. And the other one I was thinking of course, is Frankenstein and The Shape of Water.
Yes.
And it's really all about the amazing production design. I think from that point of view, that's what really I enjoy from those films. And
I agree. I was going to say, I love Del Toro's take on Frankenstein. I don't think for me it brought anything new to the story. It's very hard to do that. But I think, the production on it was sensational. So I'm happy to watch anything that man creates is wonderful. I will watch it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And so obviously you'll be heading to London for the premiere at FrightFest. Are there any other films that you're excited to see on the programme? Do you have time to check anything out?
I've gone through the program a few times now, and I've watched a few reviews of some of the other films, and I've tried not to let any of that seep into my head at the moment because I'm busy. I'm really busy trying to get focused with Hoarder, and to be perfectly honest with you, we only actually finished the film at the beginning of the week.
That's insane.
So I know. So when I said, you'd be one of the first people to review it, it was genuinely was the case. I literally just printed the digital edition of it online. Yeah. Can you hear that?
No, can't hear anything. Okay, you're all good.
It's one distraction after another. So I've tried not to think about it, but I am a bit last minute with these things. So what I'm going to do is I'm heading down to London first thing tomorrow morning. I'm going to arrive and I'm going to open up and I'm going to watch some of the trailers and I'm going to make some decisions. And fantastic. I've got a few meetings as well. So I want to I want to fit in as much as I can, and if I commit to going and watching something, and then suddenly I've got an opportunity to chat with somebody, that will compromise that. So the chats come first, and then the films will come second. But hopefully there'll be a good balance of both.
Yeah, that's what I personally enjoy about the film festival experience. And for anyone watching who hasn't yet been to a film festival, it's the networking, it's the conversations, it's the opportunity to meet people across the same walk of life and different walks of life that you wouldn't anticipate meeting, which is amazing. And so obviously it's the premiere at FrightFest. Have you got any other screenings lined up for anyone who's unable to attend where they can catch Hoarder?
We're hoping to. As I say, we've only just completed the film, so I was a little bit reluctant to push out a draft to a lot of festivals. But now it's finished, we are going and approaching other festivals. So I'm hoping to hoping we can get to Rome. I'm hoping we can get to Brussels. I'm hoping we can go out to the US. There's some great festivals over there. I'm deliberately not I'm deliberately not saying any names right now because at the end of the day I don't want to jinx it.
No.
But we have submitted to several festivals, and we are hoping to do a festival tour with this film. I think it would I'm hoping it's going to go down well, and I'm hoping we're going to have a lot of fun doing that. We have got a potential distribution strategy on hand afterwards, but that's under wraps at the moment, just until things are firmed up.
I mean, let it breathe. It's only just been finished 4 days. It's insane. At this point of recording, when this interview goes out on Thursday, it's been 4 days. That's mad.
No, you're absolutely right. Exactly.
Well, thank you so much. Before we tie up, is there anything else you want to tell our audience about Hoarder?
Oh my gosh. I mean, basically, we had a lot of fun making it, and I'd love to think that you guys will all have a lot of fun going to watch it. So do give it a go at some point, whenever and wherever it happens to be on. Thanks very much.
No, thank you. And for everyone watching, you can catch Hoarder. The world premiere is at FrightFest on the 29th of August. And keep your eyes peeled on all of the tagged social accounts as well for future film festival screenings and distribution. Thank you ever so much. And we will enjoy FrightFest, and we'll see you soon.